Guys, welcome to another episode of the CGA show. If you haven't seen our last few episodes, there should be a playlist up. I did make one a couple days ago, so yeah, check it out.
Okay.
We have I think a couple episodes in each category. Well, now we have a couple episodes in each
Now we've got a few. Yeah.
So definitely check those ones out. But if you don't know the rules, you're about to find out in just a second, because as you can see on my screen, there is a five dices with 20 sides on each, and we will be picking a number. So Noah, since you went last time, you can go last this time. I was the last person to speak, so I'll go first.
All right.
I will pick 33.
33. I will pick 21.
Okay. Noah?
We're going to steal a page from Dom's book, and I'm going to go 95.
Gonna go.
5 nat 20s.
Yeah.
58. Who's closest?
What did you pick?
Who said 33?
I said 33.
You said 33.
Yeah, so Drew, you're closest.
I'm closest? Okay.
Yeah.
Sick. All right, let's see. What am I talking about today?
I swear to God, if it gives you anime.
No, I dare it. I dare it to give me anime. Okay, maybe shouldn't have dared it. It gave me anime. By the way,
are
you sure you don't want to use this veto rule? Are you sure?
No, I don't want to use this veto rule.
Opportunity.
No. Listen here. Okay, listen. The viewers can see this because you guys can't. So you said, Drew, it's probably going to be anime again, right? And I'm looking at it. It's slowing down on conspiracy, and then for some reason it does one like tick up, and it goes to anime, and I'm just like, so now I've spoken about anime 3 times in a row.
3 times in a row, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious because you want to talk about a conspiracy. You have a good one that we've been waiting to hear, and it's refusing to allow you to do it.
See, that's a conspiracy. However,
yeah, it certainly is.
This game thinks I'm not smart. I actually watched an anime this week because I knew it was gonna pick me.
He prepared for it.
So fuck you, game. I know you're gonna give me anime. I'm gonna watch an anime every week until you give me what I want.
Just in case, you're gonna have it prepped and primed.
And I'm honestly lucky that I didn't go first this time. like because we just did another episode for context if people don't know. But yeah. But the anime I watched was from my favorite series. It was actually the first anime I've ever watched, and I didn't even know it was an anime. I thought it was a cartoon. Was Astro Boy. That was the very first anime ever watched.
Yes.
So it was the cartoon from the 80s. I think it was called the Atomic Boy. And like my parents, they're my aunts and uncles, like everybody knows about Astro Boy. Especially like people from like the South Asian, just people from like that era. Everyone from like my grandparents and whatnot. Everyone from the 30s, the 40s, all the way to the 80s. They everybody knows Astro Boy. Because it's escaping me right now who created Astro Boy. Like the name is escaping me right now.
Don't worry.
I think it's Osamu Tezuka.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, because I remember it's like it starts. I know the first one is Osamu. I just don't remember the last name. But the series that I want to talk about today, because it was actually only 8 episodes on Netflix, was Pluto. And
that one just came out, right?
Yeah,
that one came out last year, I think. And so was it last year, or maybe it came out this year? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Very good, very recently.
It could be this year. Yeah, you're right. So this one I actually didn't know there was an anime about it, because I did read the manga, and the manga is pretty old. I think it came out around I want to say like the early 2000s, like 2003, maybe 4. And this is created by Naoki Urasawa, and he created Monster. So so when you read Pluto, there's a lot of like what?
Like that's a horror anime going into a children's premise.
Pluto is not a children's.
It's not a
anime.
children's thing,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
No.
I was wondering about that.
Okay.
So for context, for people who don't know, Astro Boy, Pluto is the main villain. He's like the main, well, not villain, but he's like the main robot that's kind of like out of all the powerful robots in there. He is the antithesis to Atomic Boy. So Pluto's like, he's got like these little horns. He looks like a giant beetle, and Pluto is based off of the Roman god of death, Pluto. So because his whole thing is that he's programmed to be the best of all the robots, and he wants to kill every robot. So in the children's version, he just destroys all the robots, or like he fights them and he beats them or whatever, and in the end he gets defeated by Atomic Boy, and he doesn't necessarily turn good, but he had a moment with with Atom Boy's sister, and because the sister's like
Dumb.
no, Dom, they're children. They are children.
Okay, all I heard is he had a moment with his sister. That's all I heard.
They are children, Dom. They are children.
Megamind meme.
We're not trying to get canceled, but the moment was that Pluto is always seen as like this big bad, and like she's the only one that was ever sort of nice to him. So he kind of, all he's coded for is destruction. So this part of the code, and because he's AI, right? He's always learning. He essentially has never seen this sort of emotion before. That's in the children's version. This story is strictly about Pluto, and it takes the idea of Pluto, and we look at it from the villain side, but it's a more adult version of the whole world of Atomic Boy, because we look at rampant AI, and keep in mind this was made a long time ago, so this isn't new,
right?
So
like the series was from like the golden age of anime. Like this is where you got the Urasawa, what is it, Yu Yu Hakusho's, things like that. That's where, actually no, it was even before then. So this is like golden age of anime coming back into the light.
Yeah, and so Atomic Boy, like the creator of Atomic Boy, is still dubbed, I think, as the father of anime, the godfather of anime.
Yeah. There's a whole museum of him here in Tokyo.
Yeah, because he made that design that's so like that we all try to mimic today.
Put it in perspective. This anime is old enough that it was actually the inspiration for Mega Man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And and like the only person he's ever rivaled his whole life was Walt Disney. So take that into account. But Pluto, created by Naoki Urasawa, is he made this with Atomic Boy's creator's son, and essentially like he's kind of like the Brendan Sanderson of the Wheel of Time series, where he like picks up the work and he finishes it, whereas here he's not necessarily finishing the work, he's creating his own abridged version of it, but it's a very cool take on this villain, because it shows like, and I think there's a lot of symbolism to the Iraqi invasion, the war in Afghanistan.
Really?
Well, I mean, the country that loses, which is Persia here, is very much designed like Afghanistan, Iraq, and the people who are invading are the United States of Thracia. Thracia is probably just a different version of America. So.
US.
It's very close. Yeah.
Very, very close on the nose. There's a lot of symbolism in here. But the cool thing about this is that we follow a character, like a whole different sort of character. Not different, but he's not really one of the main characters. He's this inspector robot, and he's a highly advanced AI, just like Atomic Boy is. And
I was thinking Inspector Gadget.
He's
so much.
He's way better than Inspector Gadget, like way better. He's got a cannon for an arm that can like literally destroy
Gadget.
literally destroy just about anything. And anyways, like I'll get into spoilers, but I'll try to keep it as spoiler free as possible, just because very short anime. I don't really want to spoil.
Yeah.
Well, we're already past that 10-minute mark, so don't worry.
Yeah. I still don't want to give away some of the spoiler points, just because I think it does affect the story.
It is so short, yeah.
Yeah. So, but in the beginning, the very beginning starts off with your typical like, if you watched Monster, it's pretty much same thing. It's like a murder happens, or there's something goes wrong. We ask an existential question in a very simplistic way, and then we try to figure out what happens, and then it starts. We start peeling back the onion, right? And then we start seeing that there's more depth to each character. We start we don't even get who created Atomic Boy until like later on in the season, which I thought was insane, because it's good because normally they always do the Uncle Ben was killed by blah blah blah, great power comes great responsibility within the first 75% of the movie. This one was just like, listen, you either watched Atomic Boy or you didn't. I don't give a shit. So, that's not the story I'm here
to tell. It's like you have that opening, and then you just have the "Why are we still here" meme from Metal Gear.
Yeah. Why are we still? Yeah, exactly. This one honestly opens up a lot like the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, was just like, come on, you should know by now who Batman is, right?
What you're here for a reason. You know the story.
Yeah, he's menacing. Like so anyways, the episode starts off with like a murder of a very, very famous robot, which is Mont Black. He's a robot from the Atomic Boy series as well. And in here he's like this giant sort of. He's a peaceful robot who fought in the Asia Wars, which is the war that destroyed Persia and all that stuff. And it was supposed to be everybody knows it was just a battle between like robot armies, but obviously they don't tell the public what actually happened. So, battle between robot armies, obviously humans will get killed. And so all of these robots that did fight in there, the 7 strongest in the world, very much similar to the comic books, the 7 strongest in the world. They sort of come back with like almost like robot PTSD in some ways, because the whole premise of this show is talking about AI, right? And it blows my mind, because when the source material came out, this was way before we talked about AI more prominently in society, right? And now it was talking about like AI and how it starts. We want it to be like human, but at the same time we don't. And so in this world, it's like they're pretty much human. They're very close to being human. Like, even I love some of the interactions in this show, and it's not really a spoiler, but like Atomic Boy will eat food and enjoy it with you, even though he can't taste food. He doesn't need food, right? But like he'll have a whole conversation, and it's done in such a way where it hits you a little bit later, like, wait, he's a robot. Right? And then he does explain, like he tries all the mannerisms of humans, and so do all the other AIs. They try the mannerisms of humans to be more like human, to the point where even you, the viewer, in the first few episodes, you're like, yeah, okay, they're telling me this one's an AI, that one's not. Like, this is a robot, that's a human. But then as you get towards the end of the show, you're like, yo, I don't know who's who. Like, and that's the beauty of the show. Like, it's got a really high rating, by the way. So the manga is like goated, but the show is also really, really good. I think it's got like a 8.6 or something out of 10. So it asks like a lot of these questions about AI becoming more human, but at the same time, the whole antagonist of the show, or he would technically be the main character because he's the titular character, but he's very mysterious all the way up until episode, like we get a full visual of him all the way up until like episode, I think maybe 6 or 7, which is the last couple episodes.
Right near the end, yeah.
Yeah, because for the most part, I think even if you just Google Pluto from the Atomic Boy series, you can kind of tell what he looks like, right?
Right.
And what's cool is that in the very first couple minutes, you see Mont Blanc get destroyed, and he's not just destroyed; he's mutilated. Like if it was a human doing this, it's like a human ripping apart a person's guts and everything, and like putting like,
man,
it's basically what happens to Mont Blanc, and Mont Blanc. All we see is like Mont Blanc's head. This is the first couple minutes of the show. See his head on like on a mountain. And like you see 2 horns on his side, which is very reminiscent of the 2 horns that Pluto has, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we switch to our main character, who's the guy that you guys said was Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget.
Yeah. Okay. It's a German name. I forget. Gerst or something like that.
Okay.
And anyways, like there's a lot more to him, but what I would say about the show, without spoiling it too much, is don't hold any of the characters too dear to your hearts.
Oh god,
this is not a show that shows you like friendship is the way.
I see Dom just like going through his flashback of the comic got killed. Like
exactly, I just thought Chelsea again. Like, why do you do this to me, man? Like, why do you do this?
Oh, there is a Chelsea scene. It broke me. It was like around episode 4 or 5 where I was like, no way, he died. What?
Yeah.
So, and yeah, no one's like, sorry, I skipped over a whole a big point about this, is that obviously there are rules where robots cannot kill humans. Like that's every freaking
the iRobot thing.
Yeah. Like and like I get it. This entire series, this series is so old. Like iRobot came after it, right? So so technically, like. Yeah, Asimov probably copied. I'm not saying he did, but Asimov probably copied. Probably copied Atomic Boy here. So like robots can't kill. However, in the very first episode, our main inspector guy goes and visits the one robot that did kill somebody, and he's like completely, he's in jail, and he's basically I found it funny because he's like basically pinned to a wall, and he's like broke. He kind of looks like Jesus in a way. Like he's completely like he can't do anything to you essentially. Even if you freed him, like he's completely mangled. But what I loved about that interaction, because it doesn't end the episode on a cliffhanger, what I love about the interaction is they did an AI check on him to see what was wrong with his AI, like what made him break his programming, right? He's not programmed to kill. His AI was perfect. There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with him.
Oh, the AI just deemed it like justifiable.
It's justifiable.
It's justifiable.
So wow. But the thing is, he's such a messed up character that he's, in the beginning you just think he's like a Joker type character, but as you start getting to like the small interactions that the investigator has with them throughout the episodes, you start to realize, like, I don't even know if he's a Joker. I don't even know what's with him. Like, and that's the cool thing about this, is that nobody in the show, like nobody in the story knows what's wrong with him, and you, the viewer, also don't know either. which I love, because I love that they don't explain it to you, right? They're just like, why do we need to explain it to
you? Yeah,
that's how he is.
That's what he is.
One thing I'm finding interesting is like, you're saying you have all this stuff to say, and it's only 8 episodes, probably 20 minutes each.
Yeah.
Like, no, it
just sounds like there's a lot of information loaded.
No. It's an hour. So it's like
it's 4 long episodes.
Yeah, wow. It's like
okay.
I think it's because they don't really have big intros. They do have quite a big ending, so I would say maybe 54 minutes per episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's very different.
Yeah, that's
unique.
I would say that the first episode, because it starts like setting up, like if you're a fan of Monster, you'll realize the slow setup.
Okay.
But it's such a good payoff. It is such a good payoff. Like, it is one of those first episode, as you get by it, the second episode maybe goes a little bit slow, but then they introduced Atomic Boy in it, so you're like, oh, okay, we haven't seen him the whole first episode. All right. So then it kind of hooks you there, and then stuff happens, exposition, And then we start ramping it up around maybe episode 4 or 5, right? We start getting the juicy bits of like, who was Pluto? And Pluto comes from, Pluto was this robot that Dr. Tenma worked on. And for context, Dr. Tenma is the one who built Atomic Boy. That's the main scientist, right? And so Dr. Tenma's built it, but like the problem was that they buried him because this is Dr. Tenma's perfect creation. It gave him 9.9 billion personalities, but the problem was it was so when an AI is born, like when a robot is born, it has to pick up a certain path, right? So 9.9 billion personalities is too much, and so what it does, like it can't compute that, so all it does is it sleeps until it can go through all scenarios. By the time it goes through all scenarios, we'll be long dead, right? So so that was the theory of like, this thing isn't awake yet, right? So I don't want to spoil like we're gonna get into spoiler section here, but I won't spoil how this thing becomes awake. But the story starts off, takes us back to Persia, and shows us like it shows us the usual stuff, victims of war, and all that stuff. But what it does in another way is it shows you the PTSD, like it does the monster thing where it shows you these little tidbits of story that the story it expects you to be like, it doesn't treat you stupid, the viewer. It expects you to be smart enough to pick up what's going on, and sort of take all the tidbits of information to give you, and then something will happen on the screen, and it will do it towards all the way at the end, at the very end of the show. We'll explain every little bit to you, but the meat and potatoes of the show, it won't explain directly, like, oh, why did this person die, or why did that person die, or what was that person's motive?
Very monster.
Right.
So it's asking you, the viewer, to pay attention and piece it together. But then you also have questions, which obviously entices you to keep watching until the very end, where on the very final episodes everything is revealed to you, right? So,
which is kind of good, because I mean, if you put the viewer in the same sort of scenario as the investigator, right? Because that's your main character for the most part in this series, right? He won't have all the answers, so he'll be going through this investigation and kind of piecing it together and extrapolating information and kind of building his case to find those answers. So I guess that's a good stance to take, to put the audience in that sort of, you don't know everything yet, but if you pay attention, like, you'll find the clues and you'll see the bigger picture. So I actually kind of like that. Right. That kind of take that approach. I like that.
Yeah. I also like the idea that it's taking like a children's type of media, but it's showing that every lore has its dark side. Yeah. And it's exploring that dark side of the lore. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Honestly, like if I could give the best comparison to it, it's the real story of Hansel and Gretel. Not the children's version of Hansel and Gretel.
What other stories have a dark lore? Like, what would Dragon Tales have a dark lore side?
Probably because when I first read Pluto, I was like, this isn't the Atomic Boy I know.
Dom's just sitting there like, what is the dark story of Dragon Tales?
I'm sure there's a dark story for Teletubbies too, so it's just like a very cursed show.
Even Pokemon. Have you read those Pokedex?
Yo. The dark story of Pokemon. Dark story of Pokemon is Pal World. So I'm not gonna spoil to you who the big bad is, like who's behind the murders of the great 7 robots. And even our titular character, like what's up with him? Like he seems like he has some issues from the past, and this isn't really a spoiler. It sort of is, but he goes to book a vacation with his wife, and like in this show, like they show AIs trying to become more like humans because they got their robot rights, or like there was like a rights activist who got them all their rights to be more like human and not be treated like just like robots. So they can, you know, they can have a robot wife and adopt robot kids, or even some of the robots actually just adopt real kids, and which
they have to have robot kids.
Well, it's actually great because a lot of them take kids that are, you know, that most humans won't take because they're from a war-torn country. But the robots don't care about that. They take them in, they care for them and all that stuff. It's really cool. But so our main investigator here, he's essentially one of the top of the line robots. He's kind of like Atom Boy, but Atom Boy, he's obviously number one, right, in terms of the creations. But this guy's a very close number two. So he was created to be a detective and investigator because, well, his skills are amazing, and I think the technology that's shown in this show makes sense to me. Like, it's like, oh, you know what, I can fully see this technology coming to real life. Nothing too sci-fi where it's like, I don't see that. This one's like, okay, some of this is, I can fully see some of the detective work being done like this. But the spoiler part for the investigator character, he goes to book a trip with his wife to Japan. They wanted to go visit Japan, and they're like, okay, let's book a trip, and I'm gonna use the same, like, it's like they have like an Expedia sort of whatever app in the show.
Good to know that still exists.
It's like it's like a knockoff thing, and and so they're like, book 2 tickets. Can you register my wife because she hasn't flown before, right? And then the robot says, oh no, we have your wife's records from 3 years ago, and he's like, we never traveled 3 years ago.
We've been cheating with.
No, we've never
been cheating.
We've never been to Japan, and like she was essentially, I don't know where she was created, but I'm assuming she was created in that country that the investigators. I think it's in Germany. Okay. And then we come to find out that the big agency that created that investigator AI told the main scientist that maintains him that we erase his memories, but we're not gonna tell you why. And it's I love this little plot point because you, the viewer, go through like 7 episodes. You're like, I want to fucking know the secret, and so does the scientist guy, right? He's like, I want to know what memories you erase, right? It's great because neither of us get it. So neither the character who wants it and neither you, the viewer, gets that bit of information until the end. But it's small tidbits like that where he's like, he wants to go to Japan with his wife, but for some reason they're registered already, so they must have visited at some point, but his memories were deleted. And then it starts bringing up a whole bunch of questions like, wait, when did you delete my memories? Like, when did this happen? Right? And like, wait, you can just do that because it goes against the laws to do that, right? So it's just like, wait, if you did that, what else did you do, right? So this is what I mean by peeling back the onions. You're like, what else is going on? and so that's what the main catch of the show is that they peel back the onions. Like, it's great because they hand you the onion as the viewer, and you start peeling it, and 100% you start crying for certain parts. Because there is a Chelsea scene. There is definitely a Chelsea scene.
What's the animation style like? Is it very childlike or is it more realistic?
It's way more realistic. There's no there's no like animification of the characters. Like it's an art style that I genuinely do like. It reminds me of like older school animes. And the animation for the most, like even some of the fight scenes, there's not a lot of fights in this. Like, and when there
sounds more noir.
It's more noir, and so like even when there are fights, they're okay, they're all right. Like, I have nothing really to say about it, but it's the characters and the story that I would say I would 100% say watch it. So I'll give you my score for this. And for me, this is a solid 7.8 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. This is
That's
one
pretty big.
Yeah, because I feel like there are some parts in this show, like this, it's not a perfect show, and I feel like there's some parts in the show that you could have been like, okay, let's move this part along. I don't need to see this. I don't need to know this part. But then there's also some parts of the show where it's, like I said, when they don't handhold you, which is a great thing. But the bad part about that is that when something doesn't handhold you, it has to give you enough information for you to piece it together, right? And I feel like this show sometimes doesn't do that, where it's just like
it's like relying you on having that source material knowledge
exactly
to piece things together.
There's some bits of like the
for a series that came out like 40 years ago.
Actually almost like 100 years ago. Like, like I'm fairly certain like Atomic Boy came out like in the 30s or something. Probably in the 50s, but
probably 50s. Atomic everything was atomic in the 50s.
Yeah, probably more so. But like I'm exaggerating when I say it's like that old. But yeah, it's I think there are some parts of this where A, move it along, B, it's a little bit confusing from a storytelling. Like I fully get what they're trying to say, and it's not that the story's not good. It's just that there are parts where you put too much onto somebody where you don't need to. You can dial it back. You can dial it back, and I also think that it does have this one anime trope I hate so much. Actually, this goes for many shows in the cartoon-esque variety, which is stop repeating the same shit the other guy said. Like I can see it. Like I obviously like even I didn't do the dub. I don't like dubs, so obviously watch the original. So even if I was watching the dub, right, I don't want to hear the same shit that the other, like in a book it works. In books it works because it's a book. But in something that's, and this isn't the only show that does it, like almost every show, even the greatest shows on the planet do it, where it's like Noah said this. Oh, Noah, did you say this? Yes, I did. Okay.
Yes, he did.
It feels very storyboarded.
Yeah, it's like you just wasted 5 seconds of my life. So and like I know I'm nitpicking, but still, it's
hey, this is where the review comes into play.
Exactly. So it's a 7.8 from me. I think if you removed all of that stuff, it's a solid 8.4, but 7.8 with that stuff in. So have I convinced either of you to watch it?
Honestly, I'm definitely intrigued. Because I've watched Monster, so I'm interested because it's like noir themes with a not noir subject matter, but it's showing it's actually very noir. So I'm interested to say the least. So it's at least the Shinkansen watch for me. I'll see the first 2 episodes on there.
I definitely, for me, I think it was I saw it in like the recommended for me in my Netflix playlists. So it was definitely one of those ones I was gonna check out, but I think honestly, more than likely after we're done, I'm probably gonna watch it. Because I was watching it, like I was watching like the, like when you go through and it's got a little trailer part in Netflix. I was watching that, I was like, oh, it looks kind of cool. So now that you've watched it and we've talked about it, I'm probably gonna watch that tonight. If I'm being honest. Yeah.
All right. Well, I got 2 for 2 there. So
you've succeeded.
Yeah.
Yes. So hopefully for anybody that's watching or even listening to this, try out Pluto. It's on, I think it's a Netflix anime. It's on
Netflix.
It's one of their like main series of animes. Or Sail the Seven Seas, up to you. So but watch it.
Options.
That's it for me. And let us know how you felt about this episode, or if you did watch it, let us know what you felt about the show. But thanks for watching or listening, and have a good one.
Bye.
Yeah.